I'm Pio Ontiveros. Tonight on the program, the Abu Sayyaf beheads 2 Vietnamese hostages in Basilan. Their bodies were found this morning. Some Maranaos returned to their homes in Marawi, but only to see the damage as community leaders called on the government to stop the airstrikes. Wedding bells ringing for the songs. The stars of Descendants of the Sun are tying the knot for real. And they're putting climate change in the spotlight. Meet the 40 candidates for Miss Earth Philippines. They return home, but only to leave again. Some displaced Maranaos were allowed by the military to go back to their houses to assess damage and secure the structures. These were in areas previously cleared by government troops. Our George Quiles joins us live from Marawi. George, we're interested in to know about this Oplan padlock, but first, what is the situation there?
Unlike in the past few days when we observed fierce firefight, today airstrikes, explosions and gunfire were less often and now, less frequent, I mean. But what we saw today is that some authorities as well as some barangay officials took this as an opportunity to return and lock up their properties to prevent looting.
Tapos ito pang nangyayari sa kabuhayan namin.
This merchant breaks down in tears as he enters his grocery store in Barangay Dato Saber. Most of his grocery items and money, fruits of his years of hard work, all gone. Armed with padlocks and wires, barangay officials lock every property in their area.
We're here in Barangay Dato Saber in Marawi City, and some civilians were given the opportunity to check on their houses and establishments and to padlock them to avoid looting incidents. But earlier, what we saw is that some of their establishments and houses were already looted and some of their properties already gone.
They become frantic as they see the situation inside their homes.
Nakabukas na. Inakandar pa yung rate niya.
Left with no other choice, they will just lock their properties once more, paint the word clear once they are done.
Parang dinaanan ng typhoon eh. Sa loob ng phone eh.
And hope that items left inside will remain there until the war is over.
Hindi ko masabi kung gaano kasakit, basta sobra-sobra. Kung masasamang tao kayo, magbago na kayo. Para naman wala kayong madamay. Dahil sa mga masasamang loob, ganito ang nangyari sa Marawi City.
So with the presence of the barangay captain, so the barangay captain now can explain to their different constituents kung ano na yung status ng barangay nila. So that's actually the concept, para hindi lang puro sundalo at puro police yung nagro-roving doon.
From Mandaluyong to Marawi City, these 2 policemen, silent and somewhat in a daze as they face their new assignment in the war-torn city. Police officers Juan Jose Julius Tandog and Chito Enriquez were shown on a viral video physically abusing 2 barangay ordinance violators in Mandaluyong City last week.
Dasal lang po para gabayan din po kami rito. Para may pakita namin sa tao na itutuloy namin yung trabaho namin kahit saan kami mapadpad.
Para masubukan yung tapang at galing din nila dito. So, police work is police work wherever you go.
Although nervous with their new assignment, Tandog and Enriquez say this is their chance to prove their worth in the police force.
Well, these are photos in Basilan College, a school in downtown Marawi City that is now in control of the military. It shows the damage the fighting has incurred or has caused to that school, which Abdullah Mauta used as one of his lairs in the past few weeks. Also, this photo, which was taken early this week, shows military or soldiers now manning Basilan College. Pia.
George, can you tell us more about those two Mandaluyong policemen who were assigned in Marawi? Are they going to be sent to the front lines? What exactly are they going to be doing there?
Well, actually, they will not be sent there, and fight the Maute fighters. In fact, they will be assigned in the Marawi City Police, which normally their men are manning those checkpoints. They are patrolling those cleared areas, and also they are investigating criminal activities happening here in Marawi. Pia.
George Pilas reporting live from Marawi. We move on to another terror group. The Abu Sayyaf beheads two of its Vietnamese hostages that they kidnapped late last year. Our correspondent Lisa Oxon joins us live via Facebook video from Zamboanga City. Lisa, who are these hostages? We're going to go back to Lisa Hoxon live from Zamboanga in just a bit. In the meantime, let's go first to this. Here is the world at a glance. North Korea released this video showing what it claims is a successful test of a nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile early Tuesday. The missile could possibly hit the U.S. mainland. In response to the missile test, the U.S. and South Korea conducted a joint military drill Wednesday to showcase their ability to strike back at Pyongyang in case of an emergency. U.S. President Donald Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin for the first time this week. The two leaders will sit down Friday on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany. The meeting will be the first official meeting between the U.S. and Russia presidents in nearly 2 years. But questions remain on what Trump and Putin will actually talk about. It is unclear whether allegations that Russia tried to influence last year's U.S. presidential election will come up. And a Vatican-owned children's hospital is offering to take 11-month-old Charlie Gard into its care. Gard is a terminally ill child who is at the center of a growing debate over who makes decisions on life support. The European Court of Human Rights ruled last week that a British hospital can continue life support for Gard, who has a rare genetic disease. The child's parents want to take him to the United States to be treated. In a statement, the Vatican's Bambino Gesù Hospital says it would like Gard transferred to their facility and allow his parents to make decisions on his future. Previously, Pope Francis called on Gard's parents to be allowed to decide what happens to the child. Some senators weigh in on the possible extension of martial law in Mindanao. And Korean superstars are tying the knot for real. Details here in Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome to Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. In our Voices segment, we asked people to talk about the Supreme Court's decision on martial law in Mindanao. Remember the other day, the Supreme Court making that announcement that 11 justices had rejected 3 consolidated petitions that questioned martial law's proclamation in Mindanao. 3 other justices then also said that they would be supportive of martial law, but only if it were limited to Marawi City or Llano del Sur. And one justice had said that he would uphold those petitions questioning martial law. So we're going to have those voices for you in just a bit. In the meantime, we'd like to greet some of our viewers. Cleto Provido, who's watching from General Santos City. Luchi Melchor, watching from Japan. Hides Hori, also watching from Japan. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Please tell us what you think of the stories here on Newsnight on CNN Philippines, apart from telling us where you're watching from. We'd like to hear your opinions and your thoughts about all the stories tonight here on Newsnight. This is Newsnight on CNN Philippines. It is 3 weeks before President Duterte's second State of the Nation address, and senators believe the president will have more to show for if the crisis in Marawi is resolved by then. But if it isn't, the SONA is an opportunity for him to defend to Congress his reasons for extending martial law in Mindanao. How will such an extension be imposed? Cecil Lardizabal reports.
The president said an extension of the martial law in Mindanao declaration is warranted if necessary. And it seems like it as fighting in Marawi City continues. The 60-day limit on martial law under the Constitution ends on July 22, 2 days before the second State of the Nation address of the president. Senator Dick Gordon says on the 60th day, martial law automatically expires. So, if the president intends to extend military rule, he should tell Congress soon about it.
He should send us a communication that he is extending it and that we can now approve that for a period to be determined by us.
Once the declaration lapses on July 22, and if the president intends to extend martial law, the Constitution says Congress should convene in 48 hours to discuss it. It's a coincidence that that day will be July 24, the president's SONA. This is an opportunity for the president to address both houses and give his reasons for the extension. This early, Senate Majority Leader Tito Soto forecasts an extension.
I am looking at the possibility that, yes, we might extend, but it could probably be limited to Lanao del Sur or areas where there are no longer any possibilities of conflict.
Senator J.V. Ejercito is inclined to voting yes to extend the martial law declaration.
Probably we will grant it because I'm inclined to grant it, to vote for it, because in fact there's no wala namang instance of abuse. That's the more important thing.
Finally. But for Congressman Tom Villarin, one of the petitioners against Proclamation number 216, an extension beyond 60 days is an admission of the terrorists' victory.
Both the PNP and the AFP said that they may recommend the extension. But again, knowing the president, he needs to have a victory, symbolic or otherwise, against these terrorists. No? So if he would say that he would continue martial law indefinitely, then I think we're saying that these terrorists are victorious.
Soto and Ejercito prefer to hold an executive session with security officials before the SONA to know the full extent of the situation in Marawi City and Mindanao. Cecil Lardizabal, CNN Philippines.
The Supreme Court decision to uphold martial law in Mindanao is drawing mixed reactions. Petitioners say the ruling promotes abuses, so they continue to oppose martial law. But some local government officials welcome the ruling because the country can now stand together against the enemy. We asked you for your thoughts. Here are your voices.
Ang gusto ko may martial law. Gusto ko nga, buong Pilipinas eh. Kasi ang daming nilodosyob tayo ng mga terorista rito.
Tama lang po yun na i-declare yung martial law sa Mindanao. Kasi sa nakikita natin, nahihirapan na rin yung mga Pilipino sa Mindanao eh. So, kailangan na lang batas militar para doon.
Maaaring medyo nakakatakot din po pakinggan. Kasi parang yung mga ganung bagay po dapat pinagdesisyon muna bago ipapatupad. Kasi di ba nga po yung mga naranasan natin ngayon na dati sa martial law, siguro yung mga iba para sa iniisip nila, kumbaga parang ganun pa rin mangyayari. Siguro makakaset lang siya ng panic sa mga tao.
We go back to our top story. Abu Sayyaf beheads two of its Vietnamese hostages that they kidnapped late last year. Our correspondent Lisa Oxon joins us live by phone from Zamboanga City. Lisa, who are these hostages?
The residents of Tumahubong in Basilan found two headless corpses early this morning. Beside the bodies were their heads. The Western Mindanao Command identified the two as Wang Song and Wang Vahai, Vietnamese sailors of the cargo vessel MV Royal 16. They were kidnapped by the Abu Sayyaf from Sibago Island in Basilan last November. The cadavers were found in Barangay Tumahubong in Sinisit Town before 6 this morning. The beheading comes less than a month after the rescue of Wang Vo, Another Vietnamese sailor recovered at the height of military operations in Sunisip last June 16. The military in Basilan is trying to rescue 3 other companions who are among some 20 kidnapped victims still in the hands of the Abu Sayyaf in Basilan and Sulu. Yeah.
Lisa, any word from the Vietnamese embassy and the armed forces on this?
Like all previous incidents of decapitation involving foreign kidnapped victims, the Western Mindanao Command is silent on when bodies will be delivered to their respective countries. We were, however, told that the bodies have undergone forensic examination in Basilan and authorities are coordinating with their counterparts from the Vietnamese embassy here.
Lisa Oxon reporting from Zamboanga. Let's check the headlines across the region. Still in Mindanao, over 100 local officials in predominantly Muslim provinces were suspended. And in Cagayan de Oro City Police arrests suspected Maute financiers. Nicolette Henson-Hizon has those stories.
The National Police Commission suspended local government officials of predominantly Muslim provinces in Mindanao from exercising supervision over the local police due to inefficiency and abuse of authority. The NAPOLCOM said 7 governors and 132 mayors in the provinces of Maguindanao, Lanao del Sur, Lanao del Norte, Sultan Kudarat, Sulu, Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, and in the city of Cotabato failed to impose measures to suppress terroristic acts and prevent lawless violence in their territories. In Cagayan de Oro City, authorities arrested 3 suspected financiers and supporters of the Maute Group in a raid this morning. Authorities of the Martial Law Special Action Group also seized explosives and its components during the raid of a rented house under the name of Irene Romato Idris in Barangay Makasandig. Idris was arrested along with Mona Lisa Sulaiman Romato and Tahera Romato Taher. Police said Idris and Mona Lisa Romato allegedly assumed the task of financing the terror group after the Maute matriarch Farhana was captured last month. In South Cotabato, the Coronadal City Prosecutor's Office has dismissed the case of rebellion against a government official who was earlier tagged as Maute supporter. Talim Bayabao, a former Marawi City engineer, surrendered last month to clear his name from the arrest order issued after martial law in Mindanao was implemented. Nicolette Henson-Hizon, CNN Philippines.
All right, let's make a correction. What was suspended was the power of these local officials, some local officials in Mindanao, to over the local police. The United States holds a joint drill with South Korea to show their condemnation of North Korea's latest missile test. And it's official. South Korea's Song-Sang couple is getting married. We'll give you the details when we return. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. In the next segment of the show, we'll have world headlines for you. First, of course, reactions to this, to yet another missile test by North Korea. Pyongyang firing that missile, and of course, the entire world reacting to this. We have the latest reactions to that. Also, fireworks for the 4th of July. It is Independence Day in the United States of America. We'd like to greet some of her viewers. Fel Neri, who is watching from Mandaluyong. Sammy Inan, who is watching from Bacolod. Vilma Placambo, who is watching from Dubai. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Please tell us what you think of all the stories tonight. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. The United States and South Korea held a joint missile drill after North Korea claimed to have conducted its first successful test of a long-range missile. The U.S. Army says the exercise was to counteract what it describes as North Korea's destabilizing and unlawful actions. CNN's Kristen Holmes has the latest on the U.S. response.
The U.S. has condemned North Korea's launch of what they believe is an international ballistic missile. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson says the test, quote, represents a new escalation of the threat, and global action is required to stop a global threat. The South Korean military estimates the missile traveled about 580 miles, the U.S. saying it flew for 37 minutes. Experts calculate the missile could have a maximum range of roughly 4,160 miles, long enough to reach Alaska, but not the rest of the United States.
A lot of it is just figuring out how to do the hard engineering and basically get everything to work at the same time, which is not always easy to do.
The launch comes as North Korea also continues to pursue the development of a nuclear warhead.
Combining nuclear warheads with ballistic missile technologies in the hands of Kim Jong-un is a recipe for disaster.
Top officials from the State Department, the Pentagon, and the White House held meetings during the July 4th holiday. Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, has requested an emergency session. The UN Security Council will meet Wednesday in response to North Korea's missile launch.
There are no good military options. So if you take the military option off the table, you come back to sanctions. We've seen in the past it's not going to solve the problem.
The Russian and Chinese presidents offering up a solution at their meeting in Moscow, announcing they'll work together to try and freeze the North Korean program. I'm Kristen Holmes reporting.
Time is running out for Charlie Gard, an 11-month-old who has a rare disease that doctors say is untreatable, and they plan on taking him off life support this week. Now, this despite efforts or offers of help from two of the most powerful men in the world. CNN's John Lorick reports.
Charlie Gard turned 11 months old yesterday, and the infant, suffering from a rare genetic condition, is fighting for his life. These tubes are keeping him alive.
He's a little trooper and he's a soldier. He will fight, and he'd fight to the very end.
Charlie was diagnosed with a mitochondrial disease shortly after birth, and doctors say his brain damage is irreversible. They are calling for Charlie's life support to be shut off, but not everyone agrees with that decision.
We're still fighting! We're still fighting! Save Charlie Gard! Save Charlie Gard!
Pope Francis said Charlie's parents should be able to treat their child until the end, and on Tuesday, a pediatric hospital in the Vatican offered to take Charlie into its care. However, the London hospital told Vatican officials they're not able to legally transfer the child. President Donald Trump has also offered his sympathies, saying, if we can help little Charlie Gard as per our friends in the UK and the Pope, we would be delighted to do so. Charlie's parents would like to have their son released to them so that they can try an experimental treatment in the U.S., but a court ruled against them, saying there's no chance of Charlie's health improving.
Our parental rights have been stripped away. We can't even take our own son home to die. We've been denied that. Do you not think we've been put through enough?
Charlie's life support is expected to be turned off on Friday. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Big cities and small towns celebrated America's birthday on July 4th. Apart from fun, food, and festivities, people enjoyed the traditional fireworks displays. Let's watch this. You're still watching Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. PNP Chief Ronald Batot de la Rosa visits the new Bilibid prison following reports that some of his men are involved in drug activities. And we take you to the victory party of the San Miguel Beermen, who just won the PBA Commissioner's Cup. You don't want to miss that. Keep it here on Newsnight. This is Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. Some community leaders in Marawi are calling on the government to stop the airstrikes. That is in Marawi. We have that story for you. Also, PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa visiting the new Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa. This after reports that some of his men are supposedly involved in the drug trade there. We'd also like to greet some of our viewers. Veniza Badu, who's watching from Qatar. Dodi Bellamala, who's watching from Germany. Ethel Henriksveen, who is watching from Norway. Thank you very much for being with us tonight here in Newsnight here on CNN Philippines. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Our top stories: the Abu Sayyaf beheads 2 of its Vietnamese hostages in Basilan. Residents found their bodies this morning. The AFP's Western Mindanao Command identified them as the crew members of the cargo vessel, the MV Royal 16. Bandits kidnapped them in Sibago Island in Basilan last November. An emotional return for some Marawi evacuees. They returned to check their homes, but only to see the damage. Armed with padlocks and wires, barangay officials lock every property in their area to avoid more looting. Wedding bells are ringing for the songs. The stars of the Korean drama Descendants of the Sun are tying the knot for real. In a joint statement released to Korean media, the talent agencies of actors Song Joong-ki and actress Song Hye-kyo said the pair will get married October 31st. A group of Maranao's civil society leaders calls on the government to halt military airstrikes in Marawi City, while saying that they will not oppose martial law in Mindanao anymore. They appeal for cultural sensitivity from the authorities as they carry out their mission. Our JC Gotinga has the story.
The Supreme Court has spoken. Martial law will run its course in Mindanao. Some Maranao civil society leaders say they respect the ruling, even if they disagree with it.
The Supreme Court justices are not from Mindanao. They don't know how we feel. And if the evidence would speak for itself, 400,000 away from their homes, that's not something that should be taken in a grain of salt.
Conveners of the Maranao rescue team asked the government to allow evacuees to return to their homes as soon as possible. As the fighting drags on, people languish in evacuation sites, leaving them vulnerable to abuses. They also appeal to the military for restraint in its use of force in battling the terrorists to spare Marawi City from further destruction.
There are so many ways how to defeat the enemy of the state without wishing the airstrike. Bam! So, bakit hindi naman makinig si Presidente na itigil mo na yan, then give chance to the civilian na mag-share nila ang idea nila how to stop that war. Wag naman puro military action.
But the military says there is no other way to deal with terrorists.
We would like to emphasize na gumagamit tayo ng appropriate and commensurate force because they have advantage on the knowledge of the nooks and crannies of the city. Hindi naman irresponsible yung paggamit natin ng airstrike. These are deliberate, these are planned.
Colonel Emmanuel Garcia of the Armed Forces Western Mindanao Command appeals to the Maranao people for understanding. The Lanao del Sur provincial government also disagrees with airstrikes, but it sees no recourse but to go along with the national government's strategy. But what both Maranao government and civic leaders want to straighten out is the perception that they coddled the terrorists. They say it is unfair and hurtful, as the Maranao are the first victims of the crisis.
This is precisely the propaganda that they want to sow. They want us, the civilians, Christians, non-Muslims, Muslims, to even doubt ourselves between us, to create doubt in ourselves. And we should not fall prey to this. We should not generalize the whole of Marawi City, the entire Maranao people.
They add, people must not forget that the Maranaos are Filipinos too. In Marawi City, JC Gotinga, CNN Philippines.
The military says martial rule in Mindanao also seeks to quell the communist rebellion after the New People's Army announced it will intensify attacks against government forces. Armed Forces spokesman Restituto Padilla says in a presentation before the Supreme Court to defend the martial law proclamation for Mindanao, the military pointed out its key tasks include downgrading the NPA's capabilities. Despite this mission, Padilla says peace talks with the communists should continue.
Having that does not necessarily mean that we're stopping the peace talks. So actually the NPA and the armed forces are in a talk and fight and talk situation. So, but it would have been more desirable to have a silencing of the guns while the peace talks is ongoing.
Padilla also says citizens may carry out arrests themselves, but he stresses police assistance is still the best. He explains being in the arrest order list is similar to having an arrest warrant. He calls on the public to inform authorities if they know the whereabouts of people in the arrest orders, even if they are outside Mindanao. PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa has ordered a probe into members of the Special Action Force amid reports of increasing drug activities inside the New Bilibid prison. AC Nichols tells us more.
Kayo lang inaasahan ko. Pag kayo pa'y ipoprostrate nyo ako, wala na ako ibang mapuntahan, baka maghuramentado na ako. Ha? Pag ako'y naghuramentado, bantay kayo. Kayong gumawa ng kalokohan, huhuramentadahuhin ko talaga kayo.
A stern warning from PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa to Special Action Forces personnel amid reports of a resurgence in the drug trade inside the National Penitentiary, even under the elite unit's watch. The PNP chief told his men his trust in them is unwavering, but the allegations cannot be ignored, and he has ordered an investigation into the matter.
For all we know, for all you know, ito'y kagagawan lang ng mga sindikato. Kaya, be professional. Trabaho lang tayo. Wala tayong sisisihin. Wala tayong, hindi tayo magtatampo kung sino man nagkakusa. Wala. Trabaho lang. Tuloy lang trabaho. Is that clear?
Yes, sir! Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre said the illegal drug trade flourishes again in Bilibid because of some corrupt Special Action Force members. SAF Deputy Director Dennis Basni says the troops' morale is down due to the allegations. Around 400 SAF troops man the New Bilibid prison's maximum security compound and Building 14, where high-profile inmates, including convicted drug lords, are detained. The elite unit was assigned to guard the prison facility amid reports of corruption among the jail security personnel. SAF troops said they want out of the National Penitentiary, especially now that they are being dragged into allegations of illegal activities.
Pero initially, ang pagkasabi is 3 months lang. And then we will be replaced by another unit. Pero hindi naman po nangyari yon. Now, our troops had been asking kung kailan tayo matapos, and we had been explaining to them.
While he respects the PNP chief's decision for an investigation, he doubts drug transactions slipped into the prison during his men's watch. Bureau of Corrections Chief Benjamin De Los Santos, meantime, confirms the allegations. In a text message, he said they looked into the matter and that the National Bureau of Investigation has taken over the probe. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
A number of youth leaders are calling for the removal of Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre. The Akbayan Youth and Millennials Against Dictators filed a complaint against Aguirre before the Office of the Ombudsman for violating the Code of Conduct and Ethics for Public Officials by allegedly spreading so-called fake news. They claim Aguirre failed to perform his duties with excellence, professionalism, and intelligence. The issue of fake news first came out after Aguirre claimed a number of government officials were linked to the Marawi crisis. Aguirre later said he was misquoted on the matter.
Dapat matanggal po si Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre sa posisyon. Hindi po karapat-dapat na nakaupo siya dyan because he's betrayed public trust. Naniniwala po kami na it's a misuse and abuse of his public office to actually spread misinformation. And we think that our public servants must be held at a higher ethical standard dahil po sila po ay accountable sa ating mga mamamayan.
Naniniwala po kami na ngayon ang kagawaran ng hustisya ay nagiging factory of fake news. Nanggagaling pa siya mismo sa Secretary of Justice natin. Unang-una sinabi niya na si Senator Bam Aquino, si Ronald Llamas, magkasama daw sila sa Marawi at nakikipag-meeting doon. Hindi naman pala totoo kasi sa Iloilo Airport naman nangyari yon noong 2015.
Time now for the latest in sports. The San Miguel Beermen celebrating their latest victory in the PBA. The Beermen, after all, are the kings of the Commissioner's Cup. Our sports desk anchor, Andre Felix, is more. Andre, must be a fun day for San Miguel.
That's right, Pia. Well, it's party time for the San Miguel Beermen, the champions of the PBA Commissioner's Cup. And our correspondent, Paolo Del Rosario, now joins us live from the San Miguel headquarters in Mandaluyong City. Pao, what's the mood like there now?
Andre, the mood is very, very happy, as you can expect. Well, the San Miguel Beermen, it's been a few days since they won the PBA Commissioner's Cup, but after a 17-year wait for this particular trophy, you can't blame them for wanting to make sure the party lasts for days. Now, today's celebrations at the San Miguel Corporation headquarters here in the Ortigas Center in Pasig City, and where they will celebrate with the employees of their mother company and different fan groups that support them throughout the entire conference. The event venue is decked in gold and red with banners that mark their achievement. Also, they started today with a Thanksgiving Mass at the SMC complex before going up to the event venue to join their fans in a night of celebration and music. And just by talking to some of these players, you can tell that it is obvious that they are still not over the high of making the championship happen. Here is Coach Leo and Chris Ross.
Marami nagtatanong dyan kung di ba kami nagsasawa. And even commissioner, ikaw na naman. But hindi ko mapigilan ng work ethics nito mga player. Talagang gutom pa rin sila hanggang ngayon. And it's a good thing, dahil that's supposed to be the attitude of our winners.
It's a good feeling to celebrate with the employees, and just the championship feeling never gets old.
The San Miguel Corporation teams normally come here to the San Miguel head office to celebrate every championship run that they make. But today is a bit special because since the San Miguel Beermen won the first two conferences, they have there's a possibility that they can make it to a Grand Slam to finish off the PBA season. Though they're not necessarily thinking about that now, you can't help but think about that idea. But for now, the San Miguel Beermen are just very happy to celebrate this particular Commissioner's Cup win. Andre?
Thanks, Pao. Paulo Del Rosario reporting live from the San Miguel headquarters. Meantime, Gordon Hayward marks a new chapter in his NBA career. Hayward is joining the Boston Celtics. In an essay he wrote for the Players Tribune, Hayward admits he made a tough decision by leaving the Jazz for the Celtics. Hayward spent his entire career with Utah. He was drafted 9th overall by the Jazz in 2010. Hayward averaged 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game last season. Catch more sports stories and game highlights tonight on Sports Desk. I'm Andre Felix sitting in for Miko Halili. Pia, back to you.
Thanks, Andre. Government coming up with ways to help those who will be affected by the proposed tax reform program. And a diversified conglomerate is eyeing a stake in the importer and distributor of BMW cars in the country. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back, Facebook Live. Kadadaan na kasi ni Andre Felix sa likod. Anyway, okay, in the next segment, we have this for you trending on Twitter Philippines. Of course, the songs tying the knot, the on-camera love, the romance, which is going to end in a wedding in late October. Also, a look at BMW's all-new 5 Series. In the meantime, I'd like to say hello to some of our viewers. Ray Consolacion watching from Milan in Italy. Eva Cortel watching from Lebanon. Maria Cristina Villanueva watching from Osaka in Japan. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Please stay with us until the end of the show at 7 o'clock. you're watching Newsnight, it's time to check how major roads in Metro Manila are looking. We have live pictures of Villamor northbound at grade. You can expect light traffic if you're about to take this stretch, as we're seeing few vehicles heading toward the exits to Pasay, Manila, and EDSA. We're also reminding motorists the number coding scheme is strictly carried out today, so if your vehicle's license plates end in 5 and 6, you are not allowed on the road until 8 this evening. The Metro Manila Development Authority will carry out another shake drill next week. That's from July 14 to 17. MMDA Chairman Danny Lim says it will be the first time the shake drill will be a 4-day event. The past 2 drills were only done in a single day. Lim adds barangays will play a crucial role in this year's event.
Ito ay kombinasyon ng mga exercises sa field, including tabletop exercises. In the process, we will be injecting scenarios, situations, to test yung kapabilidad, yung training, yung abilidad, at yung mga gamit ng ating mga volunteer groups at ng lahat ng kasabi sa exercise. Titingnan natin yung communication capabilities.
The shake drill will be composed of earthquake simulation activities to prepare Metro Manila for the big one, or the supposed 7.2 magnitude earthquake the West Valley Fault might generate. The Labor Department is making it easier for overseas Filipino workers to transact with the government. It will be launching OFW identification cards called iDole. The ID cards will serve as a replacement for the overseas employment certificates. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello says all bona fide OFWs will be given the card free of charge. It will also allow them to easily transact with government institutions like Pag-ibig, SSS, and PhilHealth. The ID cards can also serve as a debit and ATM card, as well as a beep card for the LRT and the MRT.
This program is brought to you by Union for Life, the bank assurance partnership of Insular Life and Union Bank of the Philippines.
Weeks away from the reopening of Congress, the Finance Department is on a nationwide campaign to shore up support for its tax reform program. Despite criticisms, the measure is anti-poor. The DOF is unveiling new cash transfer schemes and subsidies to help sectors that will be most affected. Claire Yao has that story.
A solid lineup of the country's economic managers, face-to-face with members of civil society. In a public forum, the officials answered questions directly from participants to defend proposed tax reforms criticized by many as anti-poor. The sticking point for many is still the increase in excise taxes on fuel and cars. They fear it will trigger a wider rise in prices of basic goods, especially for the poor. The government has unveiled new measures to soften the blow. The most far-reaching, a cash card for 10 million households, half of the poorest in the country. They will get 200 pesos a month for the temporary increase in consumer prices. The government will also issue a Pantawid Pasada cash card of 2,200 pesos a month for operators and drivers of public vehicles. They get an additional subsidy when they join the government's modernization program. This should make them more energy efficient and cut down their fuel use. Meanwhile, the Pantawid Kuryente will give a subsidy to electricity consumers in far-flung areas where power generators still use diesel or bunker fuel. Lastly, the government wants to build a national ID system within the next 2 years, so beneficiaries are better identified and reached by assistance programs. The Budget Department has allotted 2 billion pesos to start this by 2018. For Ora Sevilla, who works with senior citizens, the transfers and subsidies are a huge help, but only for now. Vulnerable groups will need more substantial support from the lasting effects of the tax hike.
Well, it can provide short-term solutions, like they said, like pantawid lang. Please, in the 13-page bill, walang sinasagot na, yes, we will put programs in the long term.
The Department of Finance is open to questions and suggestions. Consultations like this help them further improve the tax reform measure.
No reform is easy. We need to forge as many reform coalitions as we can. And this is precisely why we're holding all these consultations, even reaching out to far-flung provinces, so that people understand why we need a tax reform and how they will benefit in the long term.
Claire Yao, CNN Philippines.
The prices of basic goods and services went up in June compared to the same period last year. Government data show inflation rate was at 2.8%, nearly 1% higher than figures recorded in 2016. It is still within the government target of 2 to 4%, but was lower than the inflation rate in May of 3.1%. Bangko Sentral Governor Nestor Espinilla Jr. says lower fuel prices and power rates partly drove the month-on-month slowdown. Espinilla adds this gives the country the space to carefully consider monetary policy options. From beer to bimmers, San Miguel Corporation is buying a stake in Asian Carmakers Corporation, the official importer and distributor of BMW in the Philippines. San Miguel President and COO Ramon Ang confirms talks between the two companies. The deal should be closed this month after approval by the BMW headquarters in Germany. Ang declines to say what his stake will be, but ACC Chair Pepito Alvarez wants the tycoon to be a majority shareholder.
I've been invited by Pepito Alvarez, Governor Alvarez, to join the company, but we are finalizing the entry. Yeah. Siguro within this month.
It will bring this company into greater heights. Not only 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, but you know, the network of San Miguel is very huge. So we welcome him into the company.
Once finalized, the deal will be the first auto business in Ang's portfolio.
This program is brought to you by Union for Life, the bank assurance partnership of Insular Life and Union Bank of the Philippines.
It's about fighting for Mother Earth and winning the crown for these aspiring beauty queens. We'll take a closer look at this year's Miss Philippines Earth pageant. And social media raving about a Korean celebrity couple who's decided to make it official. They're tying the knot. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. In the next segment of the show, we have 40 Miss Philippines Earth candidates facing the media and facing you, our viewers also. And also the Korean superstars, the songs Tying the Knot in late October. Many people, very many reactions to this on social media all over the place. Many people excited about this. We'd also like to greet some of our viewers. Cheryl Diaz, who's watching from South Korea. Larry Lu Avergonzado, who's watching from Australia. Donna Barbero, who's watching from Macau. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Please tell us your thoughts and your opinions about all our stories tonight here on CNN Philippines Newsnight. Members of this year's Metro Manila Film Festival Executive Committee break their silence as to why they resigned. In a joint statement posted on Facebook, Ricky Lee, Rolando Tolentino, and Cara Magsanok Alikpala say they left the committee because the MMFF took a different direction by putting too much emphasis on commerce over art. But they clarify their resignations had little to do with the first 4 selected entries. The 3 officials explained they expressed their intentions to resign long before the announcement was made. The statement also reads in part, quote, "We believe that producing a box office hit and creating quality films is not exclusive to big film studios nor to independent film outfits," unquote. They also said they stand committed to seek reforms in the Filipino film industry. Coco Martin is expected to work with his co-stars in the big screen remake of Ang Panday. On Instagram, the actor shared a series of photographs from the media event for the MMFF 2017 entry. Reigning Binibining Pilipinas International Mariel De Leon, the daughter of actors Christopher De Leon and Sandy Andulong, will be Coco's leading lady. The film will also star veteran actors Eddie Garcia, Jaime Fabregas, and Gloria Romero, as well as Michael de Mesa and Albert Martinez. Child stars Aura Briguela and Onyok Pineda are also in the cast. Candidates for this year's Miss Earth Philippines are gearing up to win the crown. In this report, our Isabella Montano tells us what some ladies are standing up for as they enter the beauty competition.
These are the 40 women vying for the 2017 Miss Earth Philippines crown. Sashaying by the poolside of the Diamond Hotel in Manila, they introduce themselves to the media. Each is armed with a personal environmental advocacy. As Miss Earth Executive Vice President Lorraine Shook says, surviving the hard work ahead of them is possible only if they have a real heart for the environment.
They should, because if not, why did they join? Because joining Miss Earth is all work. We really, if you get to interview the girls, every day it's working for the environment.
In the Miss Earth competition, the question and answer portion is 30% of the candidates' total score, indicating the importance of the girls' environmental mindset.
We felt that using beautiful girls is an effective tool. Because people, they're there, they like looking at pretty girls, so, they're the best spokesperson for our advocacy. We just need a girl who's attractive and who can talk, who can, advocate our cause.
This year, Philippine ecotourism spots and sustainability are at the core of the pageant, and each girl has her take on the matter.
My advocacy is about education. It's educating the youth about environmental awareness at a young age because, they are our future and they will inherit the earth one day.
For Samantha Victoria Acosta, named Darling of the Media, pageants are great platforms to articulate one's advocacy.
If we women can really use our voice to be able to touch the lives of other people so that we can inspire everyone to care for the environment, because I believe that nature is life, so that we must always care for our nature, because without nature, we are nothing.
And for the first time this year, fans may watch the pre-pageant judging process in live streaming on the pageant's Facebook page. While the coronation night will be held on July 15 at the Mall of Asia Arena. Isabella Montano, CNN Philippines.
Iconic singer and actress Celeste Legazpi returns to the concert stage next month. The musical event is entitled Celeste, under the direction of Maestro Ryan Cayabyab. The premier vocal group, The Company, will join the concert as special guests. Legazpi is known for her signature songs in the late 70s like Tuliro, Sabado, and Mamang Sorbetero. The singer shares in a press conference what people can expect from her concert.
Really, it's going to be a trip to the past with Bayhana and Company and Ryan. And in particular, it's going to be within the perspective of my father's contribution to the country. Within the tapestry of the music that I created in the past. And I'm hoping that all of this together will appeal to the audience of today.
Celeste goes on stage on August 5th at the theater at Soler. Wedding bells ringing for a Korean celebrity couple, and the news is making waves online. Our Nicolette Hanson-Hizan has that story, plus reactions from social media.
The stars of the hit Korean TV series Descendants of the Sun are tying the knot. In a joint statement released to Korean media, the talent agencies of actor Song Joong-ki and actress Song Hye-kyo said the pair will marry October 31st. They add the wedding is a private matter and a family affair, so they are asking for everyone's understanding. Multiple Korean entertainment websites report the two began dating in 2015, even before shooting Descendants of the Sun. The news comes as a great surprise to many of their fans. This Twitter user says she didn't even know they were an item. This one says it is the best thing she heard today. Another tweet reads, Song Joong-ki and Song Hye-kyo are getting married. OMG, my heart can't take it. One netizen is excited for the so-called Song couple to have kids and suggests they should be called Descendants of the Sun. The hashtag Song couple and the terms Song Joong-ki and Song Hye-kyo were among the top trending topics on Twitter Philippines today. Stay in the loop with these stories by visiting our website at cnnphilippines.com and follow us on social media at CNN Philippines. I'm Nicolette Henson-Hizon.
And before we go, German car maker BMW is changing the way we look at luxury vehicles. Here's a peek at the key features of BMW's all-new 5 Series.
For the ultimate business athlete, it's for the progressive businessman. It has the innovations expected and the driving performance expected from the BMW.
In fact, I already bought one. Yeah, I have been driving it for a week already. Kasi BMW is really a sport sedan. It's the best hunting sedan that you can buy. So I have been a BMW cars owner for so many years, and it's really one of the best sport sedan.
And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Pia Ontiveros. See you again tomorrow for News Night, where we go above and beyond the headlines.